The Toronto Blue Jays lost out on Andrew Heaney, so should they go all in for Marlins star Pablo Lopez? They've been linked to him in some reports, and we'll also discuss Kodai Senga. We got an update on the Japanese superstar, so you won't want to miss this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse, and we got a lot to get into today. But first, I want to thank you all for the support. It's been unreal, and we're on the road to 5K subs by Christmas time. It's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, it is. Thank you guys so much for the support. No graphic today, but make sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the Daily Jays content. But let's get right into the first topic. We have a lot to get into. The Jays are pursuing Marlins star Pablo Lopez. Obviously, the Jays need starting pitching, and so far the offseason has been pretty grim for the Blue Jays, which we'll get into in a minute, as Andrew Heaney was signed like 20 minutes ago as of the time of recording. But regarding Pablo Lopez, the Jays are believed to have discussed Pablo Lopez at the trade deadline, and they also remain engaged with him, and they have long like Kodai Senga. What are your thoughts on Pablo Lopez before we get into the news that just dropped recently about Andrew Heaney?
Well, my initial thoughts is that I really like Pablo Lopez as a pitcher. I think he'd slot into that 3-4 role really nicely in the rotation, and it's looking like they haven't had much luck on the free agent market. So the trade market might be their best bet right now. And look, they made a couple of big splashes in the past couple of off seasons, whether it be Springer, Gausman, Ryu in 2020. But this offseason, it's not looking like a lot of free agents are picking Toronto as a destination, so we got to use our assets that we have and try to acquire some talent to address those needs.
Yeah, it's looking very grim, and I'll just pop up the screenshot. This happened minutes before we started to record. Andrew Heaney has agreed to a contract with the Rangers. It is with the Rangers, doesn't show on the screenshot here, and it's worth $25 million through those 2 years, but can increase to $37 million with incentives with an opt-out in the middle. So Heaney is not going to be a Blue Jay. And I see people on Twitter blowing up. I personally thought he was definitely going to be a Blue Jay. We were preparing to double upload yesterday, reacting to the trade. And just like that, the next day he's gone. And it makes Pablo Lopez an even more viable option, or the trade market in general. But here's what the article had to say about Pablo Lopez. Essentially, converting a catcher into a rotation piece from, for instance, the Miami Marlins, and they are believed to have discussed Pablo Lopez at the trade deadline, is a way to go. So essentially, the trade market is what we're left with now, unless we sign a Kodai Senga type or, Jameson Taillon, which, might be more likely. I don't know, but I'm just upset we missed out on Heaney. I feel like he would have been kind of the perfect piece free agent-wise.
Yeah, no, the Jays definitely have a great 1-2 punch, and Alek Manoah and Kevin Gausman might be one of the top in the league. I might be a little biased there, but I love what those two bring to the table. And you just got to fill out the rest of that rotation. There's still Carlos Rodon on the free agent market as well. Haven't been linked to him as much, but it's definitely a possibility. Anything's possible. Yeah, no, the trade market is looking like the most viable option at this point, and it's starting to become a pressing need because guys are disappearing from that free agent market, and they're not necessarily picking Toronto either. So we have the assets to make a trade, whether it be with the Marlins, whether it be with anyone else. But they definitely need to get active soon because the dominoes are falling and moves are being made.
Yeah, and we still have a hole in the outfield, which maybe that's their priority right now, free agency-wise. But I'll pop up another screenshot here from John Heyman. This was basically before the report today. A couple days ago, he said the Marlins won't listen on Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara, but will listen on almost anyone else. So beyond Pablo Lopez, they will hit on other players. But Pablo Lopez is available. Their only players untradeable is Sandy. So that kind of, leads into the whole topic of clearly he's available. I think the Jays need to pay up at this point. Pablo's a phenomenal pitcher. He's not an ace, but he's something we need. We already have two aces. Obviously, Gausman is phenomenal. Manoah, which we'll get into later in this video, won an award. He's phenomenal as well. And I'll pop up the final screenshot regarding this topic, which is kind of regarding what we'd have to give up to get Pablo. So who do you trade of the three catchers, and who is the main trade target? Pablo Lopez is the target I would try. Jansen plus prospects will likely need Kirk instead, though. Would you, Peter, trade Kirk for Pablo Lopez if it came down to it?
It's tough to say. I would definitely trade Jansen. I wouldn't mind doing that, but Kirk is tough. I mean, Pablo Lopez has a ton of value. He's got years of control left, but Kirk also has a ton of value, and people also tend to forget that he's 24 years old and could still be developing as a major league player. So I'd consider it, I think, but maybe as a 1-for-1 trade. I don't know if the Marlins would necessarily go for that either. But this something needs to happen here, Nick. The Jays are getting into the zone right now where they're kind of treading water and they're entering desperation zone because free agents are not coming here right now. That could change in the matter of weeks. We don't know. I mean, a lot of stuff happens quickly. So, maybe we missed out on a couple free agents, but we could get another guy in a week, and that'll all be like a moot point, like from what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
But you're entering desperation mode, and teams are sensing that. The Jays need to make moves. Teams know that they need to make moves, but you got to make one at a certain point. You can't wait too long into the offseason because teams will just they'll fleece you. They'll take all of your assets, and then you won't be able to address other areas of need.
Yeah, and specifically the starting pitching and really, or pitching market in general is what's really starting to pick up now. And I'm a bit worried maybe the Jays are they're too focused on the outfield and not paying enough attention to the pitching because they're falling off like flies. And Heaney getting, signed by the Rangers is kind of a shock to me. It was a shock to most Jays fans. And if you're watching the video, it might be a shock to you because it only happened recently. But we'll keep you guys updated on that. And if any moves happen, we'll be one of the first ones to get a video out for you guys. But let's just get right into the next topic now, which is staying on the pitching front, finalist for Kodai Senga. So this is a player who has not been signed, but is a player I'd obviously love to sign. And Kodai Senga, unbelievable, throws super fast. We had a couple of videos covering him as well, but I'll pop up a screenshot here. The Angels, Red Sox, and Blue Jays are among the teams with interest in the Japanese superstar Kodai Senga. League sources tell him. So what are your thoughts on Kodai and if you think we can get him? Obviously, there's tons of other teams interested. I've seen the Cubs as well, but we're at least mentioned as one of the 3 teams interested.
Yeah, he's very talented, and the Jays missed out on some big fish in the free agent market. We're not going to harp on it too much because it's just going to get our blood boiling, Nick. So we'll talk a little bit about Senga here. He's a phenomenal pitcher. He's had a great career over there in Japan. He's only 29 years old, so he's entering the prime of his career, and this is the perfect addition. If the Blue Jays were to be able to go out and get him, I'd throw whatever money they have at him. I mean, I don't know if they made an offer to Verlander, but they were in on him until the end. They were one of the finalists. So I say you throw whatever money you have at Kodai Senga because they're getting desperate right now. And they need to address those last 2 rotational pieces. You don't need 2 superstars to add into your rotation. But, I mean, Kodai Senga would definitely help. He'd slot into that 3 hole, I think. And you got to do it, man. You got to do it.
Yeah, I think they did make an offer on Verlander. Ben Nicholson-Smith has been reporting it a lot. I think it was a multi-year thing, but we don't know the exact figure amount. But regardless, whatever that figure amount is, you use that money that you were going to give Verlander and you rotate it over to Senga, exactly, and he would be phenomenal. I have one more screenshot regarding Kodai. Per Blue Jays manager John Snyder, they've had a lot of good teams that want to win, have done their homework on Kodai Senga, and we're one of those teams. So, they've done their homework on him at the very least, and they seem to be pursuing him. His name has been brought up a ton, and hopefully we become the finalists for him. We've seen one of the last, 4 or 5 teams that have had their name thrown in there, but, our name has been thrown in the jar a lot with a lot of different players, and we've yet to get a single one. So I'm a bit, I'm not worried yet. I think you're a little more worried than I am. I'm not quite there yet. I know a lot of Jays fans out there are very worried. I'm a bit more worried about the pitching than the hitting. Yeah, I know you are, but we'll.
I'm worried, man. I'm worried, and it's not about doing your homework. It's about acing the final exam. Okay, and I don't want to be corny, but this is what you got to do, man. Enough doing your due diligence. Enough just look at window shopping in the free agent market. You got to go out there and get a guy to make your team better. You traded away Teoscar Hernandez. You created a significant hole in the outfield. And the free agent market, it's not looking good for you right now. How do we know Brandon Nimmo is going to come here? How do we know Cody Bellinger wants to come to Toronto? We don't. It's all speculation at this point. So you got to go out there and you got to make a splash in free agency, in the trade market, but it doesn't matter where. You just got to make a splash, and it's got to happen soon because teams are going to take advantage of you if you don't.
Peter's getting fired up. I tend
fired up, man. I'm fired up.
I tend to agree. We'll get into the last topic, to a bit of a lighthearted thing just to wrap up the video. And It's there's a typo there, but Romano and Manoah are award winners. So I'll pop up the screenshots here. These are kind of lighthearted things in the video. Given for Canadian baseball excellence, Jordan Romano wins a 2022 Tip O'Neill Award, and Manoah, with posting a 2.24 ERA in 2022, earns his first career All MLB first team selection, which is unbelievable for both players. And they're going to be staples for our team for years to come. Do you have any quick thoughts on that before we wrap it up?
Jordan Romano, great Canadian. Just wish he was playing for Canada in the WBC. He's going to be suiting up for Italy, but wish him all the best. And he's one of our favorites. He's one of our fan favorites. I love his intro when he comes out of that bullpen, and just a great guy to have in there. He always gets fired up, kind of like I am in this video right here. And I mean, he's intense. He's a competitor. Same can be said about Alek Manoah. He's going to be a first team All MLB guy for years to come, and I wouldn't be shocked if next year he's starting at an all-star game or something. So no, it's just great, and I'm glad that these guys are getting recognized. Time to get another guy, though. Time to get another guy that'll win an award for us. How about that?
Yeah, it's good to have these rewards and maybe calm some people down and just step back for a minute and realize the great players we do have. But I do agree. We do need to make a move, and this kind of wasn't the plan for the video initially, but Andrew Heaney got signed. We thought we were going to get him, and it ended up he's going to the Rangers. Rangers have been making moves. Shout out to them. But it's going to wrap up the video. We'll be the first, or one of the first on the news if any more news drops tonight. Maybe Judge. We're seeing some rumblings about Judge to the Giants, so we might have a reaction up for that. But just stay tuned. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys tomorrow or tonight if there's a move made.
Thanks.